Multi-sport events are no longer just about the competitions. It has become a medium for creativity and the quest to stand out from the rest. We saw that during the 2024 Olympics when Paris wanted to make the event an eco-friendly one, and it spectacularly failed. But it feels like Japan, in its quest to host a flawless yet authentic Asian Games, may not be learning from the mistakes that France made. The country is set to host next year's Asian Games, and the biggest talking point has been that the players will compete on land and live on water. In a first, Japan has created a floating athletes' village. Here's what's not so dreamy about that situation. Living on water for over 15 days in itself is something we can all very rightfully be skeptical about. And guess what? The weeks during which the Asian Games is being held coincides with peak typhoon season. So is this ambitious experiment really wise? Especially when Paris gave a live demonstration last year of how easily even the best laid plans could go south. The Paris Olympics, of course, started with a lot of buzz. The fervor was around how the city is making the event an eco-friendly one. In fact, the most eco-friendly and innovative one ever. The medals had a piece of Eiffel Tower. There were no air conditioners in the athletes' room in the quest for that. Meat options were limited, and above all, they had anti-sex beds made out of cardboards. But all of this flattered to deceive, an episode that Paris would want to forget. The athletes were tired of the lack of protein options available. They complained about improper sleep because of lack of proper air circulation and ventilation in all of the rooms. The beds weren't just anti-sex, also anti-sleep. Many athletes even moved out of the village to check into hotels that proved to be far more comfortable. And that piece of glorious memory the winners took home, those ingeniously crafted medals, well, the sheen on those lasted lesser than the duration of the Olympics itself. Paris's failure in this regard was there for the world to see, so why then is Japan keen on tempting fate here with a floating games village, which, got to admit, sounds fantastic on paper but could turn out to be a bit of a nightmarish ordeal. One third of the total 15,000 athletes and officials will be housed on a luxury cruise ship that will be docked at a port. The village will have usual amenities from dining halls to gymnasiums to medical services and free internet. The organizers said they decided against constructing a games-specific infrastructure to cut down on costs. The Games is set to be organized from September 19th to October 4th in Aichi and Nagoya, a time frame that is peak typhoon season in the country. The Asian Games Coordination Committee, though, feels that Japan is more than capable of handling this.
The Japanese authorities are very experienced in dealing with natural disasters, and the OCA has every confidence that they will take adequate measures, especially in informing the athletes of the contingency plans.
The question is, irrespective whether Japan has contingency plans in place or not, is all of this worth the risk? And Japan has been in this situation before. In 2019, they hosted the Rugby World Cup. In an unprecedented event, 3 matches were cancelled owing to Typhoon Hagibis. A typhoon that was so destructive it killed more than 100 people and caused a lot of flooding. Even during the 2021 Olympics, contingency plans were made in case of emergency to evacuate athletes. And to think that Nagoya is particularly vulnerable to flooding in the event of a tsunami, much more than Tokyo, Reason, it is a coastal city with many rivers. And 15,000 athletes and officials are expected to participate in the games, as I've mentioned. If there is even the slightest of a hint of a warning, shouldn't the athletes ideally be kept as far away from it as possible? Because athletes have enough on their plate to worry and think about. Their focus should primarily be on performing and winning for their countries and not on how to get evacuated in time of a disaster. Sure, the idea to make such events and such huge events more sustainable should always be a priority, but keeping what as leverage?
At Firstpost, we are choosing to hold on to accuracy. That means we won't always be first. We may not get you your breaking alert, but what you will get is what we owe you, and that is the truth. Verified, checked, and cross-checked. We rely on sources and verified ones. After all, that's what separates a journalist from a loudspeaker. But sometimes even we miss a beat, and when we do, we will tell you. Like yesterday, we ran visuals from a registered news agency. That visual turned out to be fake, so we are taking accountability. And from now on, we will cite the source of every visual, every picture, every video that you see on Firstpost will have a source mentioned. That is our commitment to you. We will wait, we will verify, we will ask again, and only then will we tell you. No noise, no panic, just the facts. Because right now, that is what the country needs most.